Welcome back to Science in Sleeping. It's always a pleasure to have you here, returning again to this little corner of calm where science and rest gently intertwine. Tonight, we're going to drift together into a vast story, one that stretches across deep time, beyond the boundaries of memory, and into the slow unfolding of our own kind, Homo sapiens. But before we set out on that journey, let's just pause for a moment to settle in, to breathe, and to remind ourselves that this space is here for you, not as another task on your to-do list, not as another demand for your attention, but as a gift of rest. You've chosen to be here, in this moment, listening, maybe lying down in bed, maybe adjusting your pillow, maybe letting your eyes grow heavier already. And that choice means that this time is yours. You don't need to accomplish anything. You don't need to remember the details. You don't need to stay awake for every word. This is both a sleep companion and an exploration, a chance to let your mind wander with curiosity, while your body releases the tension it's been carrying through the day. I know that for many of you, the hours between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. are not always easy. Maybe you feel the weight of the day's work pressing in. Maybe your thoughts race, reviewing conversations, worries, plans. Or maybe you're simply searching for a gentle voice, a steady rhythm, a story that carries you forward just slowly enough that your mind can relax. Wherever you are listening from, whether you're in a bustling city, a quiet countryside, a cozy apartment, or even a hotel room far from home, know that you are not alone. There are countless others, scattered across the world, who are here too, listening right now, hoping to unwind, to drift off, to feel connected in this soft, shared ritual of night. I'd love to know where you're watching or listening from, what time it is for you, what the night feels like where you are. Even though I can't hear your answer, you're part of a community, a quiet gathering of people all searching for the same thing, a moment of calm, a safe place to breathe, and the reassurance that rest is allowed. So if you'd like, you can imagine them just as they might be imagining you, each person lying back, adjusting their blankets, listening to this same slow unfolding of words. That sense of connection is gentle, subtle, but it can be comforting, like knowing that the stars overhead shine not only on you, but on all of us. Tonight's theme is both vast and soothing. We'll be exploring the slow evolution of Homo sapiens, the story of how we came to be, not in the hurried pace of textbooks or the crowded timelines of classrooms, but in the spacious, unhurried flow of deep time. We'll travel back through thousands, even millions of years, not rushing, not straining, but gliding slowly, gently, step by step along the way. We'll notice how small details, migrations, languages are woven into the fabric of our long human journey. But you don't need to hold on to any of it. If your mind drifts, that's fine. If you fall asleep, that's more than fine. The story will continue without you, like a river flowing whether you're awake to see it or not. So, as we begin, I invite you to get comfortable. Adjust your pillow if you need to. Loosen your jaw. Let your shoulders drop. If your hands are tense, let them soften. If your breathing is shallow, let it deepen just a little. This is not a lecture. It's a lullaby woven with science. You don't have to make any effort. You can simply listen or simply rest. Every sentence is here to guide you gently toward stillness, toward sleep. toward that quiet place where your body restores itself and your mind finds peace. So let's take one last breath together. Slowly in, slowly out. Let your eyelids grow heavier. Let the day's weight slip away. And now, let us begin our slow journey into the evolution of Homo sapiens, into the science of sleeping, and into the dreamlike rhythm of time itself. Have you ever wondered how it is that you exist at all? Not just in the ordinary sense of being alive in this moment, but in the extraordinary sense that billions of years of change, chance, and survival have lined up perfectly to bring you here. It's easy to take for granted, isn't it, that we are human beings, awake and thinking, with memories and stories, with questions and dreams. But if you look back across time, the path that led from the earliest living organisms to us was not inevitable. It was slow, fragile, winding, and full of near misses. Tonight, as you rest, we'll wander into that story, and as we do, you may find yourself drifting between listening and dreaming, between learning and letting go, and that's exactly how this is meant to be. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast desert at twilight. The air is cooling, stars begin to blink into view, and the horizon feels endless. The sand beneath your feet is soft, shifting slightly with each step, reminding you that nothing is fixed forever. Now imagine that every grain of sand represents a year in the history of life. Billions upon billions of grains, stretching out as far as the eye can see. Somewhere far back in that desert, life began, tiny and fragile. And somewhere much closer, though still distant, the first creatures who could truly be called human began to emerge. It's within this desert of time that our story takes shape, slowly, gently, patiently, and like walking under the stars. It can be comforting to remember that though the distances are vast, we are carried along by the same currents of time as everything else. The scientific story of human evolution is not one of sudden appearances, but of gradual change. Around 7 million years ago, in the forests and grasslands of Africa, lived our earliest known ancestors, creatures who were not quite human, but not quite ape either. They were small, standing perhaps 4 feet tall, walking on 2 legs some of the time, but still climbing trees for safety and rest. Their world was dangerous, full of predators, and their survival depended not on strength alone, but on adaptability, on finding food in many forms, on moving between environments. These early ancestors, species like Sahelanthropus, Chadensis, and later Australopithecus, left behind only fragments of bones, hints of how they lived, but enough for us to trace a faint outline of our beginnings. Did you know that one of the key shifts in becoming human was the lengthening of childhood? Unlike most animals, humans spend an unusually long time growing up. Years where we depend on others, where we learn by watching and imitating. This long childhood became a secret strength, because it allowed our brains more time to wire themselves with flexibility, creativity, and social understanding. It meant that communities mattered, that survival was not just about the individual, but about groups caring for one another, teaching, passing along knowledge. Even in those ancient days, the seeds of cooperation and culture were beginning to grow as millions of years passed. Some of these early hominins began shaping stone into tools. Imagine the patience it must have taken, striking one stone against another, again and again, until a sharp edge appeared. Those first tools were simple, but they were revolutionary with them. Early humans could cut meat, scrape hides, break open bones for nourishing marrow. It was not just about survival. It was about imagination. The ability to see in a rough stone the potential for something new. And that ability would echo across time, leading eventually to everything from art to astronomy. From music to medicine, the landscape shaped our ancestors. Too, as climates shifted, forests gave way to open grasslands, and walking upright became more useful. It freed the hands to carry food, to hold children, to shape tools. It changed the way we saw the world, literally raising our eyes above the tall grasses, giving a wider view of the horizon. Slowly, bodies changed, spines curved to balance, hands became more dexterous, brains began to expand, not all at once, but little by little, in fits and starts, with countless species rising and fading along the way. It's humbling to remember that Homo sapiens were not the first to stand, not the first to make fire, not the first to care for their young. We are part of a much larger family tree, full of cousins like Neanderthals and Denisovans, who walked beside us for a time before disappearing into the flow of history. And here's another thought to rest with. Every cell in your body, every beat of your heart, carries traces of that long journey. The structure of your hand echoes the grip of those who chipped stone. The rhythms of your breathing connect back to creatures who once climbed trees and watched the stars. Even your sleep, the cycles of dreaming and resting, are linked to patterns millions of years old, shared across countless living beings. So when you close your eyes tonight, you are not alone. You are resting within a lineage that has been resting, surviving and dreaming for millions of years. There's something poetic in knowing that the story of humanity is both fragile and enduring, that we are here not because we were destined, but because across unthinkable stretches of time, enough of our ancestors found ways to endure, to share, to imagine. When you look at the night sky, you might see stars that have burned for billions of years, and realize that the span of human existence is a brief flicker by comparison. And yet, within that flicker, entire worlds of thought, of art, of love, have unfolded. Perhaps that's what makes us truly human. The ability to hold in our minds both the vastness of time and the intimacy of a single moment. The ability to feel awe, to wonder, to rest in mystery. And as you listen, as you breathe, as you drift, you are part of that ongoing story, not separate from it, but woven into it, like a thread in a tapestry that stretches beyond sight. So let us continue this journey slowly. The desert of time stretches on, and there are many more footprints to follow. We'll move gently forward, from the earliest ancestors who first walked upright toward the branching paths that led to us. No hurry, no pressure, only the steady rhythm of discovery. And as we drift along this path, remember, you don't need to hold on tightly. You can let go, you can rest. You can allow sleep to carry you while the story continues, because evolution, like sleep, unfolds in its own time, never rushed, always patient, always moving toward something new. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to discover fire for the very first time? To witness a tiny spark suddenly dancing in the dark, transforming cold, silent night into a world of warmth, light, and possibility. Imagine the awe, the curiosity, the quiet tension. As your ancestors first leaned closer, unsure whether the flames were friend or foe, it was a moment that changed everything, not just because it gave warmth, but because it opened a door to imagination, survival, and the unknown. Tonight, as you rest, we'll walk slowly into that discovery, not as historians, but as companions on a journey, tracing the first flickers of flame across the vast canvas of human evolution. Picture yourself standing on a rocky hillside at twilight. The wind whispers softly through tall grasses, carrying scents of earth and smoke, faint and unfamiliar. The horizon glows with the last threads of sunlight, and shadows stretch long across the land, hiding secrets in their folds. Somewhere nearby, a small group of early humans gathers, their faces illuminated by a tiny, trembling fire. The air is both warm and sharp, carrying the tension of something both mesmerizing and dangerous. You can almost feel the pulse of their hearts, the nervous excitement, the silent agreement to approach with care. The world is vast, mysterious, and full of risks. Yet within that small circle of firelight, there is a fragile sense of safety, connection, and wonder. Fire, in its essence, is a paradox. It is delicate and destructive, beautiful and perilous, simple and infinitely complex. Early humans did not create it as we do today with matches or lighters. Instead, they learned to nurture it from natural sources, lightning strikes, volcanic sparks, or friction between stones and wood. Mastering fire required patience, observation, and subtle skill. And it was a secret known only to those who were willing to spend long hours experimenting in silence, learning from mistakes, and respecting its power. Did you know that fire may have been controlled by humans for over 1,000,000 years? Yet for centuries it remained rare, sacred, and fleeting. It transformed life slowly, in whispers rather than shouts, creating new rhythms in the day and night. With fire, humans could extend their activities into the evening, illuminating the dark with a gentle glow. Tasks that had been impossible in shadow became possible. Food could be cooked, which not only made it tastier, but also easier to digest, unlocking new sources of energy that fueled larger brains. Safety increased as the light deterred predators and allowed small communities to gather in warmth and conversation. And yet, it was not just practical. It was magical, a spark that kindled imagination, storytelling, and perhaps the first glimmers of ritual. Around the fire, language evolved, not hurriedly, but in the subtle dance of mimicry, gesture, and sound. Each flicker of flame may have inspired new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing the world. As shadows danced and shapes shifted unpredictably on cave walls, think of the suspense those early humans must have felt, watching a small ember, hoping it would not die, knowing that a moment of carelessness could destroy the fragile warmth that kept them safe. Yet in that risk was reward, a profound lesson in patience, observation, and trust in the unseen forces of nature. Fire taught them that the world could be tamed, at least a little, and that knowledge, once gained, could ripple across generations, quietly shaping the trajectory of humanity. Over time, the use of fire became more sophisticated, more intentional. Hearths were built, sparks preserved, smoke harnessed to ward off insects or signal others. And with these small innovations came larger changes. The human body adapted to the cooked diet, the brain grew, and social structures became more intricate. Even our circadian rhythms may have shifted slightly, influenced by the light of fire in the evening hours, softening the edge of night and giving our ancestors a gentle extension of waking life. Fire was not merely a tool, it was a teacher, a companion, and a constant presence that demanded respect and attention. It was a force that linked survival, curiosity, and wonder in a single, flickering movement. There is poetry in thinking about those first moments by the flame, each spark a symbol of courage and experimentation, each ember a fragile promise that life could endure. The shadows cast on the surrounding rocks may have told stories, not with words, but with shapes, rhythms, and movement. Perhaps early humans imagined spirits in the flickers, ancestors in the smoke, the future in the glow. And as you lie in bed tonight, you too can feel that quiet connection, the fire inside you, the warmth of curiosity, the spark of imagination that has traveled across millions of years to reach this very moment. As we continue our journey, notice how the world of fire is not separate from the world of sleep. Both are transformations, both are states of vulnerability and discovery. Fire changes matter, sleep changes mind and body. Both demand patience, both reward attention in subtle, often unnoticed ways, and so we drift together. Between the ancient flames of human history and the soft glow of your own internal calm, tomorrow or in the next module, we will move further into the mysteries of communication, language, and thought. But for now, let the warmth linger in your mind. Let the suspense and wonder carry you gently forward, and allow your eyelids to grow heavier, knowing that each flicker of fire, each pulse of curiosity, is a thread connecting you to the long, patient story of humanity. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to hear the very first words spoken by a human? Not words written in books or recorded in history, but sounds shaped by instinct, curiosity, and the need to connect. Imagine the suspense, the hesitation, the tiny triumph as one human uttered a sound that another understood. That fragile bridge of communication, uncertain and exhilarating, would become the foundation of everything we know, everything we dream, everything we share. Tonight, as you rest, we will move into that world of sound and silence, tracing the subtle rhythms that turned instinct into conversation and connection into culture. Picture yourself standing in a dense forest at dusk. The air is damp with the scent of moss and earth, and shadows stretch long between towering trees. In the quiet, you hear the rustle of leaves, the distant cry of a bird, the low murmur of water in a nearby stream, and then, closer, human voices, soft and uneven, rising and falling in patterns that are neither song nor speech, but something in between. You feel the tension in the air, a mixture of fear, curiosity, and anticipation, as one being reaches out with sound and another listens carefully, eyes wide, body tense, heart steadying with focus. It is a moment of subtle suspense, a delicate balance of risk and reward, and it will echo through time, carrying forward into every conversation, every story, every whisper that we ever share. Language did not appear all at once. It emerged gradually, like a slow flame, flickering at first, then growing stronger. Our early ancestors likely began with gestures, facial expressions, and cries. A certain rise and fall of pitch could signal danger, indicate food, or express curiosity. A slight movement of the hand could communicate warning or reassurance. Over generations, these gestures and sounds became more structured, more reliable, more sophisticated. And somewhere in that process, the first words emerged, simple units of meaning carried on the breath, shaping thought as much as conveying it. Did you know that the evolution of language may have been closely tied to social bonds? Our ancestors survived not by strength alone, but by cooperation, by understanding one another, by warning, comforting, and sharing. The human brain adapted to this need, growing regions capable of complex communication, capable of remembering relationships, patterns, and intentions. Social life became more intricate. As individuals began to recognize the power of trust, deception, humor, and empathy, each conversation, each shared sound, was a thread binding the group together. And it was these threads that allowed humans to survive in a world full of uncertainty, predators, and shifting climates. Imagine the suspense in those early exchanges. A young human tries a new sound, uncertain whether it will be understood, whether it will invite connection or provoke fear. A group listens closely, leaning in, waiting for meaning to emerge from the rhythm, the tone, the subtle emphasis. And when understanding occurs, even partially, there is relief, joy, a flicker of triumph. It is in these moments that the human mind began to realize its own capacity for abstraction. That sound could represent objects, actions, feelings, even ideas that had never been spoken before. That thought could be shared, shaped, and expanded collectively. And with this capacity came imagination, creativity, and the subtle thrill of suspense. Because communication was not guaranteed. It had to be earned, nurtured, discovered over time. Language became more than mere survival. It became art, ritual, and memory. Stories emerged to preserve knowledge, where to hunt, how to track animals, which plants were safe, which were dangerous. These stories were passed around fires, whispered in shadowed caves, sung in unhurried rhythm under starlit skies. Did you know that storytelling may have directly influenced the development of the human mind, strengthening memory, deepening empathy, enhancing problem-solving, and cultivating a sense of self and other? Every tale told was both a record and a performance, a teaching and a shared moment. And the suspense of a story, the careful pause before a revelation, mirrored the suspense of life itself, keeping listeners alert, engaged, and awake to the nuances of the world. Consider the poetic reflection of this evolution. Language is a bridge between the known and the unknown, between one mind and another. It carries emotion, intention, humor, sorrow, curiosity, wonder, and mystery, even today. When you speak, when you listen, when you read or write, you are participating in a chain of communication that stretches back tens of thousands of years. Every thought you shape, every word you hear, echoes those first attempts to connect, those tentative sounds that risked misunderstanding and found meaning anyway. And in that continuity, there is comfort, a sense of belonging to something greater than oneself, a recognition that human connection is ancient, enduring, and profoundly beautiful. As we drift further Notice how language is intertwined with sleep itself. Our dreams may replay fragments of conversations, infuse them with new narratives, allow words to merge with imagination, just as early humans learned to share experience through sound. Your mind now shares experience with itself in gentle patterns, sometimes coherent, sometimes mysterious. And as your eyes grow heavier, as your breathing slows, let the suspense and wonder of this ancient language echo within you. Imagine the first whisper of thought made audible, the first connection through sound, the first spark of understanding shared under the stars. And know that each breath you take, each moment of rest, is part of this long, patient journey, a quiet continuation of the story that began in the forest and continues now with you here tonight. So let us move forward, slowly and gently. The human mind is ready to explore new landscapes, new discoveries, new connections. Tomorrow, or in the next module, we will explore the mysteries of migration, of journeys across continents, of humans spreading into unknown lands. But for now, rest within this suspended moment of sound, of connection, of curiosity. Allow your thoughts to drift, your mind to wander, and your body to release the tension of the day. For the story of humanity is long, patient, and full of wonder, and you are part of it, even as sleep carries you gently forward. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to step beyond the land you know, to leave behind familiar trees, rivers, and the safety of your tribe, and to walk into a world of uncertainty? Imagine the tension, the quiet thrill, the suspense of leaving everything behind, not knowing what might wait over the next ridge or beyond the horizon. That leap into the unknown was the heartbeat of human history, the decision that shaped the spread of our species across continents. Tonight, as you rest, we will follow those tentative steps, feeling the landscape, the danger, and the wonder, and imagining the courage it took to venture outward. Picture yourself on a misty morning at the edge of a vast valley, the ground damp beneath your feet, the scent of distant forests heavy in the air. You see mountains rising like silent sentinels, rivers glinting like threads of silver in the soft light, and shadows stretching long across plains that seem endless. A group of humans gathers at the foot of a ridge, packs of simple tools and gathered foods slung across their backs, eyes scanning the terrain ahead, listening to the subtle whispers of wind, the rustle of leaves, the distant calls of animals that may be friend or foe. Each footstep carries suspense, uncertainty, and hope. One wrong move could lead to injury, starvation, or separation. Yet each step carries the promise of discovery, the possibility of new resources, new experiences, new opportunities for survival. Migration was never simple, never guaranteed. Early humans moved for many reasons: scarcity of food, climate shifts, curiosity, population pressures, and they did so without maps or guides, relying on memory, observation, and intuition. Did you know that some groups followed herds of animals across vast savannas, watching their movements with the patience of hunters, while others climbed mountain passes to track seasonal changes, or sailed along coasts guided only by the shape of the land and the flight of birds? The land was alive with possibilities and dangers. Rivers could nourish or drown. Forests could shelter or conceal predators. Storms could arrive without warning, Every day brought suspense. Every night brought the quiet tension of listening for sounds that might signal safety or threat. And yet, human ingenuity found ways to endure, to adapt, to survive. As they moved, early humans learned to read subtle signs in the environment. The color of the sky at dawn could predict weather. The behavior of animals could hint at danger. The growth of certain plants could indicate fertile ground. Tools were carried, adapted, and shared, forming an unspoken language of survival. Did you know that some of the earliest migrations may have taken humans across seas, using simple rafts or coastal navigation? Long before we had written records or maps, the courage to step into a boat, to trust the water, to leave solid ground behind, reflects the same curiosity and bravery that allowed humans to dream, to innovate, and to imagine. Each migration carried suspense, the unknown stretching ahead like an unrolled tapestry. Every step an experiment, every night a test of endurance and intuition. Imagine the night, cold and quiet, as these travelers rest beneath unfamiliar stars. The wind sighs through the trees, carrying scents and sounds that are strange, unsettling, and exhilarating. By the fire, elders speak softly, recounting memories of previous journeys, sharing guidance, weaving patterns of knowledge that will protect and guide the group. The suspense is tangible as each person senses the fragility of life in the wilderness, the thin line between safety and disaster. Yet there is also a deep, unspoken connection to the world, a realization that they are part of a story much larger than themselves, stretching back into the unknown and forward into futures yet to be imagined. Migration shaped the human body, mind, and culture. Walking long distances strengthened legs, endurance, and coordination. Exposure to new environments demanded problem-solving, creativity, and flexibility. Communities had to cooperate, organize, and communicate in increasingly sophisticated ways. And perhaps most fascinating, these journeys expanded the human mind, opening it to new possibilities, new ways of thinking, and new ways of seeing the world. Did you know that as humans spread across continents, they adapted to climates as diverse as icy tundras, humid jungles, and arid deserts? Each environment leaving subtle marks on anatomy, diet, and behavior. This adaptability, combined with curiosity and courage, allowed Homo sapiens to become the global species we are today. And yet, the suspense of each journey, the uncertainty of each step, never fully disappeared, remaining a quiet pulse beneath the surface of human experience. There is a poetic rhythm to these migrations. They are journeys of both body and mind, of fear and wonder, of loss and discovery. As you listen, you might imagine yourself walking beside them, feeling the weight of the pack, the cool night air, the thrill of the unknown stretching ahead. Every step a testament to courage, every pause a moment of reflection, every breath a connection to the ancient, patient flow of life. And just as our ancestors learned to trust one another, to communicate, to guide, and to follow, so too can you trust your own body, your own mind, as it prepares for rest, as it drifts toward sleep. The suspense of migration is mirrored in the gentle suspense of letting go, of sinking into calm, of surrendering to the night as we move forward. Notice the subtle connections between migration, adaptation, and the rhythms of life. Each landscape explored, each risk taken, each pattern learned contributes to the unfolding story of humanity. And as your eyelids grow heavier, let the suspense and wonder carry you gently. Tomorrow, or in the next module, we will explore the development of art, symbolism, and culture, and the ways humans began to leave permanent marks upon the world. But for now, rest within this quiet space, feeling the rhythm of footsteps across ancient landscapes, the whisper of wind, the hush of night. Let the story of human courage, curiosity, and resilience settle within you, and allow sleep to carry you gently, like the soft, steady pulse of a journey that has been traveling across time for millions of years and continues tonight with you here. Now, have you ever wondered what it would feel like to hold the first painted stone, to trace your fingers over patterns that no one had ever seen before, shapes made by imagination rather than necessity? Imagine the suspense, the quiet thrill, the uncertainty in the mind of the creator. Would the others understand? Would they see meaning in the lines and colors, or would the effort fade into obscurity? That first spark of symbolism, that leap from survival to expression, was a quiet revolution. Tonight, as you rest, we will enter the world of early human art, exploring how imagination, curiosity, and a sense of wonder transformed the night. Picture yourself standing at the mouth of a deep cave. The air is cool and earthy, carrying faint echoes from the world beyond. Your eyes adjust to the dim glow of a small fire behind you, casting flickering light that dances across jagged walls. And then you see it, a painting, faint but deliberate, shapes of animals moving across the stone, lines that seem to shimmer in the firelight, colors of ochre, red, and black. There is a hush, a quiet tension, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. The artist's hand paused in suspense, uncertain if this vision would survive the night, uncertain if the act of creation would be understood or lost. And yet, in that fragile, flickering moment, something remarkable occurred, a bridge between mind and world, between imagination and reality. Art in early humans was more than decoration. It was a form of communication, a way to connect across time and space. Did you know that some of the oldest known cave paintings date back over 40,000 years? Long before written language, these images were carefully placed, often deep within caves where light barely reached. The act of creating them required planning, patience, and an understanding of materials and space. Each stroke of pigment carried meaning, whether ritualistic, educational, or expressive, and the suspense of creation was intertwined with survival. As the artist risked the unknown, venturing into dark, unfamiliar spaces to leave behind a mark, imagine the suspense of the first sculptures. Small figurines carved from bone, ivory, or stone. Perhaps a crouching figure, a rounded form, an abstract shape that hinted at meaning beyond the immediate. Each carving was a silent statement, a way to observe, interpret, and transform the world. And every viewer who encountered it would experience a subtle tension, wondering at its purpose, its origin, its significance. These early forms of art were acts of courage as much as creativity, small rebellions against the transience of life, attempts to preserve thought, feeling, and imagination. Art was deeply intertwined with culture, ritual, and identity. It helped humans make sense of their environment, their social bonds, and the mysteries of existence. From painted hands pressed against cave walls, to abstract patterns scratched into stone, to symbolic ornaments worn on the body, every creation carried a message, a question, a connection. Did you know that some patterns appear repeatedly across continents and thousands of years, suggesting shared human cognition, shared impulses to express, connect, and understand? Even in the flicker of firelight, humans were asking questions. Who am I? Who are we? What does it mean to exist in this vast, unpredictable world? And those questions, conveyed through art, became part of the very fabric of culture, passed down quietly from generation to generation. Imagine observing these early humans as they gathered, their eyes catching the reflections of fire on painted walls. A child reaches out to touch the images, tracing shapes with small fingers. Curiosity and wonder mingling with the thrill of suspense. Adults watch with calm intensity, recognizing the significance, understanding the subtle power of creativity. And in these moments, humans learned not only to create, but to share meaning, to interpret, to teach, and to learn. The walls of the cave, the painted stones, the carved figurines, they were classrooms, theaters, and mirrors of the human soul. Every line, every curve, every shadow carried subtle lessons about observation, patience, courage, and imagination. There is a poetic rhythm to this emergence of art. It is the heartbeat of curiosity and reflection, the quiet pulse of human thought reaching outward. Every mark, every stroke, every shape is both fleeting and eternal. It speaks across millennia, whispering to us about our ancestors' fears, hopes, and dreams. As you listen, you might imagine yourself wandering through these caves, tracing your hand over the walls, feeling the texture of history beneath your fingers. The suspense of discovery lingers, the quiet thrill of understanding, the delicate balance of meaning and mystery. And just as our ancestors experimented, explored, and risked the unknown, you too can allow your mind to drift into calm exploration, guided by imagination and gentle curiosity. Art also shaped the human mind, nurturing abstract thinking, pattern recognition, and memory. It allowed humans to envision worlds beyond immediate survival, to imagine possibilities, to connect with each other across space and time. Did you know that early symbolic thinking likely influenced the development of language, planning, and social cohesion? The same cognitive leaps that allowed humans to create art also allowed them to strategize, cooperate, and innovate. Every painting, every carving, every symbolic ornament carried both knowledge and wonder, subtly expanding human understanding of the self and the world. As we drift further, notice how art, symbolism, and culture echo the patterns of sleep itself. Both involve creation and interpretation. Both unfold in quiet, patient rhythms. Both offer connection and reflection. And as your eyelids grow heavier, let the suspense and beauty of this ancient creativity fill your mind. Imagine the flickering fire, the painted walls, the small figures, and the awe of discovery. Allow these images to carry you gently, to nurture curiosity and calm, to connect your mind to the long, patient story of humanity. And as sleep draws near, remember that each act of creativity, each quiet experiment, each mark left in shadow, is part of the human legacy that flows quietly, gently and endlessly into the present. So let us move forward, slowly and softly. Tomorrow, or in the next module, we will explore the emergence of tools, technology, and innovation, and how humans transformed the physical world around them. But for now, rest within this calm, this awe, this gentle suspense of imagination. Feel the rhythm of human creativity, the quiet pulse of discovery, and allow sleep to carry you forward, as it has carried countless generations before, across caves, plains, rivers, and mountains, into the vast, enduring tapestry of time itself. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to hold a tool that had never been imagined before? To grasp a stone, a piece of wood, or a sharpened bone, and realize that it could change the way you interact with the world. Imagine the suspense, the quiet thrill, the delicate tension between experimentation and risk. Would it work? Would it fail? Could it make life easier, safer, or more fruitful? Or would it simply break and leave you exposed? That small moment of discovery, when curiosity met ingenuity, was a quiet revolution. Tonight, as you rest, we will enter the world of early human technology, tracing the subtle, transformative steps that shaped not only survival, but imagination and culture. Picture yourself crouching beside a riverbank at dawn. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of wet earth and fresh leaves. Pebbles glint faintly in the shallow water, and the gentle rush of the current mingles with the soft calls of birds awakening. A hand reaches down, fingers brushing smooth stones, testing their weight, their shape, their potential. Suspense fills the air as the mind imagines what could be done, how a single stone might be struck against another to create a sharp edge, a cutting surface. Each motion is careful, deliberate, a dialogue between thought and material. And when the first successful cut is made, there is a quiet exhilaration, a small triumph that will echo across generations. Early tools were extensions of the human body, yet they transformed the body and the mind as much as they extended action. Did you know that some of the earliest stone tools, dating back over 2.5 million years, were simple flakes used for cutting meat or scraping hides? Yet the very act of shaping stone into a functional object required abstract thinking, foresight, and precise coordination. The creator had to imagine an outcome that did not yet exist, to see the potential hidden within the raw material. And with each improvement, with each new technique, humans gained more control over their environment. They could process food more efficiently, defend themselves more effectively, and explore regions previously inaccessible. The suspense of invention was constant. Every experiment carried the risk of failure, injury, or waste. A mistrike could shatter the stone. A sharp edge could cut the hand. A poorly shaped tool could mean hunger or vulnerability. Yet humans persisted, driven by curiosity, necessity, and imagination. And in this persistence, the subtle genius of innovation emerged, not as sudden brilliance, but as patient, iterative progress. Each small success built upon the last, creating patterns of knowledge and skill that would ripple through time. Imagine the first composite tools, where stone was combined with wood, sinew, or bone. A sharpened point lashed to a shaft, creating a spear capable of hunting larger game. The suspense in crafting such a tool must have been immense, balancing the fragility of materials with the promise of power. and when it worked, when it pierced or cut as intended, it was more than survival. It was mastery, a glimpse of human ingenuity taking form. The development of tools also shaped social life. Knowledge had to be shared, skills taught, techniques refined collaboratively. Even early humans understood that wisdom multiplied when passed between individuals, and that collective intelligence could overcome the limitations of any single mind. Tools were also gateways to imagination and experimentation. They allowed humans to manipulate the environment in subtle ways, from shaping shelters to crafting ornaments, from preparing food to carving symbols. Did you know that evidence suggests some tools were designed primarily for symbolic or aesthetic purposes, not just practical survival? This reflects a mind stretching beyond immediate needs, imagining possibilities, testing limits, and embracing curiosity, the suspense inherent in creation. The delicate balance of risk and reward became a rhythm of human experience, echoing in every strike, carve. Imagine observing early humans as they work with tools around a fire. The glow illuminates focused faces, fingers carefully shaping material, eyes attentive, minds alert. A tool fails, a flake breaks off, a design is modified, and yet the effort continues. Every movement carries suspense, every trial a subtle thrill of discovery. And as you listen, you might feel that same pulse within yourself, the gentle tension between challenge and solution, curiosity and understanding, creativity and observation. Tools, technology, and innovation shaped not only survival, but human identity. They expanded possibilities, extended perception, and nurtured abstract thought. Did you know that by the time Homo sapiens had begun widespread migration, humans were creating specialized tools for fishing, hunting, sewing, and even artistic expression? Each new development was a quiet revolution, a testament to patience, observation, and ingenuity. And with each innovation, humans could shape the world more intentionally, leaving footprints, artifacts, and traces that connect us across time. There is a poetic rhythm in the emergence of technology. It mirrors the rhythm of sleep itself, where effort and relaxation, attention and letting go, imagination and rest, weave together in harmony. Every tool created was an act of thought, patience, and vision, a physical echo of the human mind reaching outward. And just as these early humans discovered ways to manipulate matter, to solve problems, and to explore, so too can you allow your mind to explore gently. As your body relaxes, your breathing slows, your eyelids grow heavier. Imagine the rhythm of hands shaping stone, the suspense of discovery, the quiet triumph of innovation. Feel the pulse of ingenuity stretching across millennia, carrying you toward rest, calm, and gentle curiosity as we move forward. Notice the connection between tools, human intelligence, and culture. Each small invention, each risk taken, each success and failure forms a subtle pattern that shapes the human story. And as sleep draws near, let the suspense, wonder, and quiet thrill of innovation carry you. Allow your mind to drift with the rhythm of discovery, your body to sink into calm. For you are part of this continuum, connected to the long, patient flow of human ingenuity. And tonight, just as the earliest humans rested after a day of creation and exploration, you too can rest cradled in the soft, unhurried pulse of time, curiosity, and discovery. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to be part of one of the first tightly knit human communities? To share not only food and shelter, but knowledge, stories, and even responsibility for one another's survival. Imagine the suspense of navigating relationships in a world that could shift from calm to perilous in an instant. Every choice carried weight: whom to trust, whom to follow, how to balance personal needs with the survival of the group. That fragile tension between individual action and collective cohesion shaped the human journey more profoundly than any tool or fire. Tonight, as you rest, we will walk slowly into the heart of early communities, feeling the rhythms, challenges, and quiet triumphs of humans learning to live together. Picture yourself in the early morning, the sun just peeking above the horizon. The ground is soft with dew, the air cool and still, and distant mountains rise like silent guardians over the valley. A small group of humans emerges from the shelter of a cave, each step careful, deliberate, balancing hunger, fatigue, and the need to remain alert. Eyes scan the landscape for predators, water, or food, hands ready to carry tools or defend the vulnerable. Suspense hangs in the air, subtle yet persistent, for every misstep could mean injury or scarcity. Yet the presence of others provides reassurance, a shared vigilance, a quiet, unspoken comfort in numbers. Every glance, gesture, and shared action carries meaning, a dance of cooperation and understanding. Early communities were not random gatherings. They were intricate networks of social bonds, hierarchies, and roles. Did you know that humans have been forming social groups for millions of years, long before agriculture, cities, or written laws? Within these groups, individuals specialized, learned from one another, and formed relationships that balanced risk and reward. Some became hunters, others gatherers, some caretakers, and some leaders who guided decision-making during hunting expeditions or migrations. Trust was vital, and those who betrayed it risked exclusion or worse. The suspense of social negotiation was ever present, a delicate tension between cooperation and competition, harmony and conflict. Imagine a moment at dusk. Around a flickering fire, stories are shared, recounting hunts, lessons learned, and subtle warnings. The suspense in these stories is palpable, carrying tension, caution, and sometimes humor. Laughter may erupt, tension may ease, but underlying it all is the constant awareness that survival depends on attention, understanding, and memory. Through these stories, humans taught one another not only practical skills, but the subtleties of social life. Did you know that some researchers believe that storytelling, shared myths, and early rituals strengthened group cohesion, providing a mental framework for understanding social hierarchies, alliances, and shared goals? The suspense inherent in navigating these social structures sharpened attention, cultivated empathy, and trained the mind for the complex demands of human life. Communities also developed rituals and early symbolic behavior. From shared meals to burial practices, from dance to ornamentation, each act reinforced identity, belonging, and trust. The suspense of participating in these rituals, the uncertainty of whether actions would be understood or accepted, heightened awareness and reinforced cooperation. Imagine the quiet concentration as a young member learns the customs of the group, observing gestures, listening to chants, and mimicking behaviors. Each repetition builds skill, understanding, and subtle social authority. And as these practices became habitual, they created a tapestry of culture that allowed humans to survive together in ways no individual could alone. The emergence of hierarchy was subtle, shaped by age, skill, courage, and wisdom. Leaders arose naturally, not by decree, but by demonstration of competence and reliability. Did you know that early human hierarchies were fluid, shifting depending on context, environment, and group dynamics? One who led in a hunt may not lead in gathering. One who was wise in navigating water might not dominate ritual decisions. This fluidity reduced conflict while enhancing adaptability, a delicate balance maintained through observation, negotiation, and subtle social signaling. The suspense of daily life, the uncertainty of danger, and the reliance on one another fostered sophisticated cooperation, empathy, and foresight. Imagine the suspense of a shared hunt, each member attuned to the movements of prey, the signals of others, the wind-carrying scents that might alert animals or predators. Every decision is critical: when to advance, when to retreat, who takes the risk, who covers the flank. And in this tension, humans learned not only skill, but trust, communication, and coordination. Even minor missteps could mean failure, injury, or hunger. Yet success brought nourishment, safety, and collective triumph. Through these experiences, humans internalized lessons about cooperation, patience, and strategy. And as you listen, you might sense the pulse of suspense, the thrill of anticipation, the subtle rhythm of social life stretching back tens of thousands of years. Communities also fostered innovation, as shared knowledge allowed small improvements to propagate. A new tool design, a refined hunting technique, or a new way to construct shelter could benefit everyone. Did you know that humans thrived not merely because of physical skill, but because of the capacity to transmit knowledge, adapt behavior, and learn collectively? The suspense of experimentation and observation continued, now amplified by the presence of a group. Success and failure were witnessed, debated, remembered, and taught, and the subtle tension of shared responsibility sharpened minds, enhanced empathy, and deepened the bonds that allowed humans to flourish in diverse, unpredictable environments. There is a poetic rhythm to early communities, a dance of cooperation, suspense, and shared triumph. Every gesture, story, and shared meal is a thread in the intricate tapestry of human connection. As you rest, you might imagine walking beside these groups, feeling the warmth of the fire, the weight of collective responsibility, the thrill of understanding. And just as humans learned to rely on one another, you too can relax into the support of your own inner rhythms, your body, your breath, and the gentle flow of this story. The suspense, tension, and wonder of community are mirrored in the ebb and flow of attention and release, curiosity and calm, exploration and rest. As we move forward, notice how the dynamics of early human communities foreshadow every aspect of human culture, learning, and connection. Every story shared, every task coordinated, every bond formed contributes to the long, patient evolution of social intelligence. And as sleep draws near, let the suspense, rhythm, and subtle beauty of these ancient communities carry you. Allow your mind to drift in harmony with the pulse of cooperation, curiosity, and quiet vigilance, for you are part of this continuum, linked to the long, patient story of humans learning to live, work, and thrive together. And tonight, as your eyelids grow heavier, let rest take over, carrying you gently forward through the tapestry of time. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to control fire, to summon it from sparks or embers and watch it leap into life, flickering and dancing in the darkness? Imagine the suspense, the quiet thrill, the delicate tension of balancing warmth and destruction. Would the flame behave, or would it rage beyond control, threatening everything around it? That first mastery of fire was one of the most profound transformations in human history. Tonight, as you rest, we will step slowly into that glow, feeling the heat, the anticipation, and the subtle magic that changed human life forever. Picture yourself in a small clearing as night descends. The forest around you is quiet, the air cool, carrying the scent of damp leaves and distant smoke. A tiny fire flickers in the center, its light casting long shadows that sway across the ground. Early humans kneel nearby, hands outstretched, eyes fixed on the flame as if watching a living creature. Suspense fills the air, the tension of life itself riding on the thin barrier between warmth and chaos. Every ember carries possibility, warmth, protection, illumination, nourishment, and yet every ember carries risk, the danger of burns, of sparks igniting dry grasses, of losing the fragile gift of heat. The fire is both friend and challenge, a teacher of patience, respect, and observation. Mastery of fire transformed human existence. Did you know that the ability to cook food may have begun over 1 million years ago? Cooking not only made food easier to digest, but also unlocked more energy from plants and meat, fueling larger brains and longer lifespans. The suspense of this discovery was immense, for a poorly controlled fire could destroy resources, harm the community, or leave them vulnerable to predators. And yet, early humans persisted, experimenting, observing, learning, and passing knowledge across generations. With fire, night became less threatening, extending the day into hours of safety and productivity. Stories could be shared, tools could be shaped, and social bonds strengthened in the gentle glow. Imagine the suspense of early cooking experiments. A piece of meat placed too close to flames could char and fail, while careful positioning could unlock new flavors and textures. Plants were tested cautiously, some edible, some toxic, requiring careful observation and intuition. Each meal was an experiment, each success a triumph, each failure a lesson in patience and attentiveness. The quiet rhythm of preparing food, tending embers, and observing changes became a central part of human life. And with it came subtle but profound changes in cognition, social structure, and culture. Cooking influenced social life in surprising ways. Meals became communal events, gathering individuals together in cooperative effort and shared experience. The suspense of hunting, preparing, and cooking food carried over into social negotiation, teaching, and storytelling. Did you know that shared meals may have strengthened language, empathy, and cooperation? Sitting around a fire with food in hand allowed humans to communicate, to teach, to bond, and to imagine collectively. The fire became a center of culture, not just survival. Its glow fostering creativity, reflection, and the subtle thrill of understanding that humans were not only observers of the world, but shapers of it. Imagine observing early humans as they tend fire at night. The flames cast shadows that flicker like spirits on cave walls. Hands carefully adjust logs, embers glowing with possibility. Eyes scan the surrounding, alert to danger, yet soothed by the light. Stories emerge, whispered or spoken softly, recounting hunts, journeys, rituals, and lessons. The suspense of night remains tempered by warmth and shared vigilance. Every motion, every sound, every shared glance carries meaning. And in this quiet drama of survival, humans learn patience, observation, empathy, and the subtle dance of cause and effect. The mastery of fire also influenced biology, shaping the human body in remarkable ways. Cooked food is easier to digest, reducing the energy required by the gut. This allowed more energy to support larger brains, fueling intelligence, creativity, and problems. The suspense of experimentation with fire directly influenced human evolution. Did you know that regular exposure to fire may have even altered social structures, daily routines, and sleep patterns with warmth and light? Humans could extend their active hours safely into the night. The rhythm of life began to shift subtly with evening gatherings, teaching, storytelling, and reflection. Fire reshaped both the physical and cognitive aspects of humanity. Each flicker a teacher, each ember a guide, each flame a silent partner in the slow, patient unfolding of human potential. Imagine the suspense of leaving the safety of fire to sleep in the darkness, knowing that the warmth you carry is precious, fragile, and potentially life-saving, yet trusting the knowledge gained, the embers preserved, the skills honed. The balance of risk and reward mirrors the quiet suspense of our own minds as we drift toward sleep. And as you lie in bed tonight, you can feel that rhythm, that pulse, that connection. The fire of early humans is mirrored in the fire of curiosity and imagination within you. Every spark a lesson, every glow a source of warmth, every flicker a reminder that survival and discovery are intertwined. The mastery of fire also nurtured imagination and art. Shadows dancing on cave walls inspired stories, rituals, and creative expression. Did you know that some of the earliest symbolic carvings and paintings may have been influenced by firelight? The movement of flames, the rhythm of shadows, and the warmth of gathering together fostered reflection, invention, and awe. And just as our ancestors experimented, explored, and imagined under firelight, you too can allow your mind to wander gently, feeling the suspense, the curiosity, and the quiet thrill of discovery. Let the glow of ancient flames warm your thoughts. Let the rhythm of experimentation lull your mind, and let the story of fire carry you slowly, patiently, toward sleep. As we move forward, notice how fire is both literal and metaphorical, a source of warmth, energy, and light, and a symbol of curiosity, patience, and human ingenuity. Every ember, every experiment, every meal, and every story shapes the tapestry of human evolution. And as sleep draws near, let the suspense, wonder, and gentle warmth of these early fires carry you. Allow your mind to drift with the rhythm of embers, your body to relax, and your imagination to wander. For you are part of this continuum, connected to the long, patient flow of human discovery. And tonight, just as our ancestors rested beside their fires, you too can rest, cradled in the soft, unhurried pulse of warmth, knowledge, and time itself. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to step into completely unknown territory, to leave familiar forests, rivers, and mountains behind, and enter a land that may hold food, shelter, danger, or secrets yet unseen? Imagine the suspense, the quiet thrill, the tension in every step as you balance curiosity with caution. Each movement forward carries risk, yet also the potential for discovery, mastery, and survival. That delicate tension between the unknown and the possible has shaped human evolution more than we often realize. Tonight, as you rest, we will walk beside early humans as they explore, innovate, and adapt to the world's diverse and often unforgiving ecosystems. Picture yourself at the edge of a dense jungle. The air is thick, warm, and rich with the smell of wet earth and vegetation. Sunlight filters through the canopy in soft beams, illuminating leaves, vines, and the occasional glint of water in a hidden stream. You hear the faint rustle of animals, the distant calls of birds, the whisper of wind through the branches. Each sound carries suspense, signaling potential danger or opportunity. A small group of humans moves cautiously, tools in hand, scanning for edible plants, fresh water, or signs of predators. Every glance is a calculation, every step a negotiation between exploration and caution. Early humans were keen observers, learning to read subtle signs in each ecosystem. Did you know that humans adapted to deserts, tundras, forests, and coastal regions by carefully studying plants, animals, weather, and terrain? Each region posed unique challenges: scarcity of water, extreme temperatures, dangerous predators, or unfamiliar landscapes. The suspense of exploration was constant, every choice influencing survival. And yet, humans were not only observers, they were innovators, creating tools, strategies, and shelters that allowed them to thrive in new environments. With each adaptation, they expanded the boundaries of human possibility, pushing further into the unknown. Imagine the suspense of refining tools while navigating these diverse ecosystems. A stone axe may work well in a forest, but fail in open plains. A spear sharpened for hunting fish may not pierce the hide of a large mammal. Early humans experimented patiently, observing results, adjusting techniques, and sharing knowledge within the group. Each success brought triumph, each failure carried lessons. The rhythm of experimentation, observation, and cautious innovation became a constant companion. And as you listen, you might feel that same rhythm within yourself, a gentle pulse of curiosity, patience, and understanding. Exploration was not only physical, but also cognitive. Humans had to remember paths, landmarks, seasonal patterns, and animal behaviors. They developed maps in their minds, sequences of observation that guided movement and decisions. Did you know that some evidence suggests humans even recognized ecological cycles, such as when rivers would swell or when certain plants would fruit? The suspense of moving through unfamiliar terrain sharpened senses, enhanced memory, and encouraged collective learning. And the presence of a group, allowed knowledge to be transmitted, preserved, and expanded. Each encounter with a new ecosystem was both a challenge and an opportunity, a delicate balance of risk and reward. Picture a night under a starlit sky. The group rests beside a riverbank. Embers glowing faintly from a small fire, shadows dance across the water, and the suspense of the day lingers quietly. Stories are exchanged, recounting near misses, discoveries, and insights. The firelight illuminates faces marked by concentration, fatigue, and subtle joy through these quiet reflections. Knowledge is transmitted, bonds are strengthened, and the pulse of exploration continues into the night. Even in rest, the rhythm of observation, anticipation, and learning continues, a subtle echo of the day's suspense. Encounters with diverse ecosystems drove innovation in tools, shelter, and social organization. In forests, humans learned to climb, to craft ropes, and to identify edible or medicinal plants. In coastal regions, they developed fishing tools, rafts, and techniques to process shellfish. In open plains, they refined hunting strategies, tracking movements of herds across vast distances. Did you know that some of the earliest known specialized tools reflect careful adaptation to specific environments? These innovations were not isolated. They were shared, taught, and refined over generations. The suspense of experimentation, the thrill of discovery, and the necessity of survival intertwined to drive human ingenuity. Imagine the suspense of crossing a vast river, uncertain if the water is shallow, if currents will carry you safely, or if predators lurk unseen. Hands grip simple rafts or floating logs, feet balance on slippery surfaces. Eyes scan the horizon, heart steady with focus. Every movement carries risk. Every decision could mean life or loss. Yet the potential reward, new land, new resources, new knowledge, is irresistible. Early humans learned to trust observation, intuition, and collective guidance. Each crossing, each journey, each encounter with unknown terrain reinforced resilience, cooperation, and ingenuity. And as you lie in bed tonight, you can feel the same tension and release, the gentle suspense of exploring the mind and imagination. Exploration also fostered cultural and cognitive growth. Exposure to new environments required flexibility, creativity, and problem-solving. It nurtured abstract thought, memory, planning, and foresight. Did you know that some researchers believe that repeated exposure to diverse ecosystems contributed directly to the expansion of the human brain? The suspense and uncertainty of exploration became a quiet teacher, shaping not only physical survival but cognitive evolution. Through these journeys, humans developed an intricate understanding of patterns, cause and effect, and environmental interconnections. And these lessons carried forward into tools, art, social organization, and language, forming the foundation of complex human culture. There is a poetic rhythm to exploration, a quiet tension between curiosity and caution, risk and reward, observation and action. Every step into the unknown is a dialogue with the world. Every discovery a subtle triumph. Every failure a gentle lesson. As you listen, you might imagine yourself walking beside these early humans, sensing the heat of the sun, the weight of observation, the thrill of discovery, And just as they learned to navigate complex environments with patience and ingenuity, you too can drift gently, let the suspense, wonder, and rhythm of exploration carry your mind into calm, curiosity into rest, and anticipation into serenity as we move forward. Notice how exploration, adaptation, and innovation are intertwined threads in the tapestry of human evolution. Every journey, every experiment, every encounter shapes the flow of knowledge, culture, and survival. And as sleep draws near, allow the suspense, and gentle curiosity of these ancient explorations to carry you. Let your mind drift with the rhythm of discovery, your body relax into calm, and your imagination wander in the soft, unhurried pulse of time. For you are part of this continuum, connected to the long, patient story of humans exploring, learning, and thriving across the planet. And tonight, just as early humans rested after a day of adventure and observation, you too can rest, cradled in the gentle, enduring flow of life, wonder, and curiosity. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to live in a world that constantly shifts beneath your feet, where seasons arrive unpredictably, rivers swell or dry, and the very air can chill or scorch without warning? Imagine the suspense, the subtle tension in every decision, the quiet thrill of observing, anticipating, and responding to the pulse of the environment. Would the food last? Would the fire be sufficient? Would shelter withstand the storms? Or would the wind carry it away? That delicate dance between humanity and nature has shaped survival and innovation since the dawn of time. Tonight, as you rest, we will step slowly into the lives of early humans, feeling the rhythms, dangers, and triumphs of adapting to a world in constant motion. Picture yourself in a vast open plain as the first hints of winter arrive. Frost coats the grass, the air is crisp, and distant mountains rise like silent guardians over the landscape. A small group of humans moves cautiously, scanning for signs of prey, shelter, or water. Every step carries suspense, as the land itself is unpredictable. Rivers may freeze or flood, food sources may vanish or flourish, predators may lurk unseen. The group must make careful calculations, balancing the risks of exploration with the promise of survival. Every glance at the horizon, every rustle of leaves, every distant howl is a message, a warning, a puzzle to interpret. Early humans developed an acute understanding of climate patterns and seasonal cycles. Did you know that humans relied on observation of plants, animal behavior, wind, and celestial cues to predict weather and seasonal changes? This knowledge was crucial for hunting, gathering, and planning migrations. The suspense of adaptation was constant, as misreading a signal could lead to starvation, exposure, or danger. Yet humans persisted, learning to track subtle signs, share knowledge within groups, and anticipate the rhythms of the environment. Through this careful observation, they gained a deeper connection with the world, a quiet rhythm of attention and patience. Imagine the suspense of storing food for the harsh months ahead, roots dug carefully from frozen soil, fruits dried and preserved, meat smoked or hung above the fire. Every action carries tension, as spoilage or misjudgment could have serious consequences. Yet the reward is immense: survival, security, and the possibility of thriving even as the land grows harsh. Humans also learned to construct shelters adapted to changing conditions, from caves to simple huts, reinforced with branches and hides. Each structure reflects ingenuity, foresight, and intimate knowledge of materials. Adapting to seasonal cycles required both observation and experimentation. Did you know that humans may have rotated camps seasonally, following herds, water sources, and plant growth patterns? The suspense of moving into a new location, uncertain what challenges await, is palpable. Would water be sufficient? Would predators be near? Would firewood be available? Every relocation is a careful negotiation between risk and reward, and each successful adaptation strengthens resilience. Over generations, these strategies became ingrained, forming the foundation of survival knowledge that would guide countless generations. Imagine the suspense of anticipating storms or extreme cold. A crackling fire keeps the group warm, while others reinforce shelters, gather additional food, or hunt in preparation for scarcity. Every movement is deliberate, every choice carries weight. Every observation is precious, and through this interplay of attention, risk, and preparation, humans cultivated foresight, planning, and cooperative problem-solving. The quiet tension of survival teaches patience, observation, and subtle judgment. And as you lie in bed tonight, you can feel that same pulse within yourself, a gentle rhythm of attention, anticipation, and calm awareness. Climate change and seasonal adaptation also shaped cognition and social structure. Did you know that humans needed to remember complex spatial patterns, track animal movements, and predict environmental shifts? This cognitive load fostered larger brains, advanced memory, and abstract thought. Groups that adapted successfully could survive, teach, and expand into new territories, while others struggled. The suspense of environmental challenge drove creativity, strategy, and collective intelligence, and humans learned to communicate complex information about weather, resources, and survival strategies, forming the roots of language and culture. Imagine observing the subtle celebrations of a successful harvest or a safely navigated winter. Relief and quiet triumph mingle with the tension of past challenges. Stories are shared. Laughter and reflection ripple through the group, even in calm. The awareness of the environment's unpredictability remains, a gentle reminder of the delicate balance between risk and reward. Through these rituals and reflections, knowledge is preserved, passed down, and refined, and as you listen, you might feel a subtle connection to that rhythm, the interplay of challenge, observation, and triumph stretching back across millennia. Adapting to climate and seasonal cycles also encouraged technological innovation. Humans crafted insulated clothing, improved shelters, refined tools for hunting and gathering, and experimented with food preservation. Did you know that some early technologies, like sewing needles and insulated footwear, reflect careful adaptation to environmental pressures? The suspense of experimentation, the risk of failure, and the thrill of discovery became intertwined with the pulse of survival, and every innovation strengthened not only physical resilience but social bonds, as knowledge and skills were shared and refined collectively. Imagine the suspense of moving through shifting landscapes. A sudden flood, a snowfall, or an unseasonal drought could challenge every plan. every preparation, every expectation. Yet humans learned to respond, to anticipate, and to persist. Each challenge honed intelligence, observation, and cooperation. The rhythm of environmental suspense mirrors the rhythm of sleep itself: attention, reflection, anticipation, and calm release. And just as early humans navigated uncertainty with patience and care, you too can allow your mind to navigate the gentle currents of thought, letting go of tension and settling into calm. There is a poetic rhythm in the human response to climate and seasonal cycles, a quiet tension between uncertainty and mastery, risk and reward, observation and action. Every survival strategy, every adaptation, every innovation is a testament to patience, curiosity, and quiet courage. As you rest, you might imagine walking with early humans through frost, rain, and sun, feeling the suspense of each decision, the thrill of adaptation, the subtle pulse of intelligence. And just as they learned to anticipate and survive, you too can drift gently, allowing curiosity, reflection, and calm awareness to carry you into the gentle rhythm of sleep. As we move forward, notice how adaptation to environment, climate, and seasons forms a continuous thread in human evolution. Every observation, every experiment, every moment of suspense and triumph shapes the long, patient story of survival, culture, and intelligence. And as sleep draws near, let the awe, curiosity, and gentle suspense of these ancient strategies carry you. Let your mind drift with the rhythm of adaptation, your body relax into calm, and your imagination wander in harmony with the pulse of life. For you are part of this continuum, connected to the enduring flow of human resilience, ingenuity, and wonder. And tonight, just as early humans rested after a day of observation and adaptation, you too can rest, cradled in the quiet, patient rhythm of survival, knowledge, and time itself. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to hear a sound that carries meaning? A simple vibration in the air that could warn, invite, or teach. Imagine the suspense, the quiet thrill, the delicate tension of trying to communicate before words existed. Would the gesture be understood? Would the sound convey the right warning, the right invitation, the right hope, that first spark of symbolic thought? The moment humans began to map meaning onto sound, gesture, or mark was a subtle revolution. Tonight, as you rest, we will step slowly into the beginnings of language and communication, feeling the suspense, curiosity, and awe that accompany this transformative leap. Picture yourself beside a river as dawn stretches its first fingers across the horizon. The air is cool and filled with soft sounds of flowing water and distant birdsong. A small group of humans gathers, exchanging glances, gestures, and subtle sounds. Every motion carries meaning. Every sound conveys intent. The suspense is palpable, a warning of predators, a suggestion for direction, a question of need or desire. Even a slight misinterpretation could mean wasted effort, missed opportunity, or danger. And yet, within this delicate balance, humans were beginning to encode thought into sound, gesture, and eventually structured language. Early communication was a dance of observation, mimicry, and experimentation. Did you know that some researchers suggest that humans first combined vocal sounds with facial expressions and hand gestures, creating a multi-layered system of meaning? The suspense of this experimentation was constant. Would the group understand? Would cooperation improve? Could knowledge be reliably transmitted across space and time? Each new sound, each gesture, each combination carried risk and reward. Yet the potential was profound. Suddenly, humans could share observations about predators, food, shelter, and social interactions with precision. This subtle expansion of cognition laid the foundation for culture, planning, and collective learning. Imagine the suspense of a first conversation, a series of clicks, hums, and gestures that convey a complex idea, perhaps the location of a herd, the presence of danger, or the need for assistance. Each participant watches carefully, interpreting meaning, refining signals, responding in kind. The rhythm of this interaction, the tension of uncertainty, and the thrill of understanding combine to create a subtle pulse of human intelligence. Did you know that the neural pathways that support language are closely tied to those involved in social awareness, observation, and memory? Meaning that the suspense and attention required for early communication directly strengthened cognition and social cohesion. And as humans refined their sounds, gestures, and expressions, symbolic thought, opening new worlds of imagination and understanding. Picture a child imitating sounds and gestures by the firelight. The fire flickers, shadows dance on the walls, and every imitation carries suspense. Will the gesture convey the intended meaning? Will it be rewarded or corrected? Will it be remembered? Learning language was both practical and magical. It allowed humans to share experiences beyond immediate perception, to plan hunts, teach skills, and narrate stories. Every success reinforced the rhythm of communication. Every misstep, a lesson in patience, observation, and adaptation. And as these early humans practiced and played with sounds, they were also shaping cognition, memory, and creativity. Communication also fostered social cohesion. Did you know that groups with effective communication could coordinate hunts, resolve disputes, and transmit knowledge more successfully than isolated individuals? The suspense inherent in conveying accurate meaning heightened attention and collaboration. Humans began to understand not only the content of a message, but the intentions, emotions, and context of the messenger. Language became a tool of trust, negotiation, and cooperation. Even subtle sounds or gestures carried layers of meaning that shaped behavior, reinforced hierarchy, and nurtured. Imagine the suspense of creating a symbolic mark for the first time, a line scratched into stone, a pattern pressed into clay, a mark left on skin or hide. Would others understand it? Would it endure? Would it communicate beyond the immediate moment? This leap from sound to symbol, from gesture to abstraction, was a quiet revolution in human thought. The mind now could manipulate meaning detached from immediate reality. Humans could imagine, plan, and create narratives, rituals, and knowledge that transcended time and space. Every symbol was a seed of culture, every mark a bridge between mind and world, curiosity and understanding, past and future. The origins of language and symbolic thought. Early humans needed to interpret subtle cues, anticipate responses, and adjust behavior based on context. The thrill of successful communication, the quiet tension of potential misunderstanding, and the satisfaction of shared understanding shaped not only relationships, but the evolution of cognition itself. Did you know that humans possess an innate sensitivity to pattern, rhythm, and social feedback that makes language acquisition and symbolic understanding possible? Even today, the neural echo of these first lessons resonates in every conversation, every story, and every moment of empathy and understanding. Imagine the suspense of storytelling around a fire. Gestures, sounds, and expressions combine into narratives about hunts, seasons, spirits, or lessons learned. The group listens intently, each individual interpreting, reflecting, and internalizing meaning. These early stories carried suspense, wisdom, and cultural continuity. They encoded survival strategies, social norms, and shared experience. And as you listen, you might feel the same rhythm, the subtle pulse of anticipation, comprehension, and reflection. Stories, words, and symbols are threads connecting humans across space and time. And just as early humans discovered the magic of shared meaning, you too can allow your mind to drift gently, carried by curiosity, understanding, and calm. The evolution of language and symbolic thought also laid the groundwork for imagination, art, and science. Every word, gesture, and mark allowed humans to model reality, plan for the future, and explore abstract ideas. The suspense of experimenting with new forms of communication encouraged creativity, reflection, and learning. And as sleep approaches, you can feel the echo of this ancient suspense within your own mind. Let the rhythm of observation, interpretation, and understanding carry you. Allow curiosity and reflection to blend into calm awareness, letting your thoughts drift gently like sounds carried on a quiet breeze. For you are connected to a long lineage of humans who discovered the power of communication, the thrill of symbolic thought, and the gentle suspense of shared understanding. As we move forward, notice how language, symbols, and communication are threads in the tapestry of human evolution. Every gesture, sound, and mark shapes culture, cognition, and connection. And as sleep draws near, let the wonder, suspense, and subtle thrill of early communication carry you. Allow your mind to drift gently into the rhythm of observation, imagination, and calm reflection. For you are part of this continuum, linked to the patient, enduring story of humans who learned to share meaning, understand each other, and dream together. And tonight, just as early humans rested after a day of observation and storytelling, you too can rest, cradled in the quiet, hypnotic pulse of curiosity, understanding, and time itself. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to sense something greater than yourself? To stand beneath a sky so vast, so infinite, that your mind trembles with awe? Imagine the suspense, the quiet thrill, the delicate tension between fear and fascination. Would the firelight guide you safely, or would the shadows conceal mysteries you could not yet comprehend? That first stirring of wonder, the impulse to create ritual and seek meaning beyond the immediate, was a profound leap in human consciousness. Tonight, as you rest, we will step gently into the world of early spirituality, feeling the awe, suspense, and quiet reverence that shaped human thought. Picture yourself at the edge of a cliff as the sun dips below distant mountains. The sky is painted with deep oranges, purples, and fading gold. A small group of humans stands in silent attention, observing the vast expanse of land and sky. The air is still, the only sound, the soft rush of wind and distant calls of animals. Every heartbeat carries suspense. Every breath feels connected to the pulse of the universe. Hands hover near simple tools or stones, perhaps marking the moment with careful gestures or symbolic carvings. The experience is both humbling and thrilling, a delicate balance of awe and anticipation. Early humans were keenly aware of natural cycles, celestial patterns, and the rhythms of the seasons. Did you know that even tens of thousands of years ago, humans tracked the movement of the sun, moon, and stars, and that these observations were often linked to ritualistic practices, marking time, guiding, hunting, or celebrating life and death? The suspense of interpretation was constant. What did the patterns mean? What could be learned? And what risks lay in misunderstanding? Yet humans were compelled to seek answers, to explore, and to honor the mysteries surrounding them, from firelit gatherings to dawn ceremonies. Every moment carried a quiet reverence for the forces of nature. Imagine the suspense of creating a ritual for the first time. A small fire is lit, symbols are drawn in the earth. Chants or gestures accompany the movement of the group. Would the ritual resonate? Would it bring safety, abundance, or understanding? Every participant watches carefully, learning, observing, and contributing. The rhythm of collective focus, the tension of shared intent, and the thrill of connection create a subtle pulse of human consciousness. Did you know that ritual and repeated ceremonial practice may have strengthened social bonds, cooperation, and memory? The suspense and attention involved nurtured cognitive development, imagination, and abstract thought. Picture a child mimicking ritual movements by firelight. The shadows flicker across the cave walls, patterns echoing the motion of hands, bodies, and flames. Every gesture carries suspense. Will it be accurate? Will it be accepted? Will it convey meaning? Through this process, humans internalized cultural, symbolic, and spiritual knowledge. The quiet thrill of learning, the subtle tension of practice, and the wonder of understanding something beyond the immediate world created a new rhythm of life. And as you listen, you might feel that same rhythm within yourself, a gentle pulse of reverence, curiosity, and calm anticipation. Spirituality and ritual also influenced perception and attention. Humans began to notice cycles in nature, patterns in the sky, and the subtle signs of animal behavior. Every observation carried suspense. A cloud might signal rain. A lunar phase could mark migration. A sound might indicate danger or opportunity. The integration of observation with symbolic understanding nurtured foresight. Did you know that early humans may have even used ritual to manage uncertainty and anxiety? The act of honoring, predicting, or symbolically controlling natural forces created a profound sense of agency. Even in the face of mystery and danger, ritual provided comfort, guidance, and connection. Imagine the suspense of contemplating life and death in a quiet, firelit ceremony. The group gathers around a fallen member, or perhaps a symbolic representation of the cycle of life. Every word or chant carries deep attention and reverence. Did you know that burial practices, offerings, and symbolic artifacts from tens of thousands of years ago reflect early human awareness of mortality and meaning? The suspense of ritual, the uncertainty of effect, the anticipation of understanding heightens perception, empathy, and reflection. And as you lie in bed tonight, you can feel the same tension and release, the gentle awareness of mystery, the thrill of imagination, and the calm of reverence. Ritual and spirituality also inspired creativity. Art and symbolism, the first cave paintings, carvings, and decorated tools may have been linked to spiritual expression. Every line, mark, or symbol carries suspense. Will it endure? Will it convey meaning? Will it inspire awe or understanding? Did you know that early symbolic art often reflects celestial patterns, animals, and elements of the natural world, connecting humans to forces larger than themselves, and nurturing a sense of wonder and belonging? The suspense of creation, the thrill of expression, and the calm reflection of observing meaning fostered both cognition and emotional growth. Picture the suspense of observing the night sky in the company of others. Stars twinkle in patterns. The Milky Way stretches like a river across the heavens. Soft murmurs accompany gestures pointing to constellations, shadows, or celestial events. Every moment carries quiet tension. What is real? What is meaningful? What might this reveal about life, survival, or connection? The pulse of awe, anticipation, and reflection nurtures curiosity, imagination, and calm. And just as early humans felt the wonder and suspense of the cosmos, you too can drift gently into the rhythm of observation, reverence, and calm. The development of spirituality and ritual also shaped human social life. Communities strengthened through shared ceremonies, symbolic acts, and collective attention. Did you know that ritual practices often encoded moral, ethical, and cooperative behaviors, providing structure, cohesion, and guidance in complex social environments? The suspense of collective action, the thrill of shared understanding, and the gentle pulse of attention nurtured intelligence, empathy, and culture. Imagine the suspense of dawn after a night of ritual. The sky lightens, the fire smolders, shadows retreat, and humans awaken with heightened awareness. Every gesture, every memory, every observation contributes to understanding, connection, and preparation for the day. The rhythm of ritual, attention, and reflection carries forward into daily life, guiding thought and imagination. And as sleep draws near, allow the awe, suspense, and subtle thrill of early spirituality to carry you. Let your mind drift gently with the rhythm of stars, fire, and human curiosity. For you are connected to this long lineage of wonder, imagination, and reverence. And tonight, just as early humans rested after ceremonies and reflection, you too can rest, cradled in the quiet, hypnotic pulse of awe, mystery, and the human heart. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to touch the first brush of creativity, to lift a tool, a stone, or a pigment, and leave a mark that transcends the immediate moment? Imagine the suspense, the quiet thrill, the delicate tension of shaping something that carries meaning beyond survival. Would the pattern endure? Would others understand? Would it inspire or simply fade? That first leap into artistic expression marked the dawn of cultural identity, a subtle revolution in human consciousness. Tonight, as you rest, we will step slowly into the origins of art, feeling the awe, suspense, and quiet wonder that flows through human history. Picture yourself in a shadowed cave. The air is cool and earthy. Faint echoes of dripping water fill the space. Fingers trace the contours of a wall, feeling its uneven texture. A stone or pigment is held carefully, poised to mark, to symbolize, to communicate. The suspense is palpable. Will this mark endure? Will it be seen? Will it convey thought or emotion? Every motion is deliberate, every choice infused with quiet reverence. The flickering light of a nearby fire casts shadows, revealing textures, amplifying shapes, creating a rhythm of anticipation and observation. Early humans discovered that art was not merely decoration. It was a language of the soul, a bridge between mind, community, and environment. Did you know that the first known cave paintings may be over 40,000 years old, depicting animals, abstract patterns, and symbolic forms? The suspense of creation was constant. A line too deep, a color too bold, a gesture too small or too large could alter meaning, yet the potential for communication, teaching, ritual, and reflection was extraordinary. Through these marks, humans encoded survival knowledge, spiritual insight, and collective memory. Imagine the suspense of choosing a motif for the first time. Would it be a representation of a hunt, a sacred symbol, or a reflection of inner thought? Each decision carries weight, every mark a subtle negotiation between intention and expression. Did you know that some early artworks align with celestial events, seasonal cycles, or migratory patterns of animals, suggesting that art and observation of the natural world were deeply intertwined? Every creation carried suspense, curiosity, and discovery, and as you listen, you might feel that rhythm within yourself, a gentle pulse of creativity, attention, and awe. Picture a small group gathered near a newly painted wall. Shadows dance across the figures, gestures point to patterns and forms. The suspense of interpretation hangs quietly in the air. Does the message resonate? Do the shapes convey insight? Does the community understand? Every observer participates, internalizing, reflecting, and contributing to meaning. Art becomes a shared experience, a subtle force that binds humans together. Through this interaction, identity is formed, individual, group, and cultural. The quiet thrill of observation, imitation, and reflection nurtures memory, cognition, and empathy. Art also served as a ritual and spiritual conduit. Patterns, symbols, and depictions of animals often connected to hunting, fertility, protection, or celestial reverence. Did you know that some paintings depict abstract forms believed to represent water, wind, or spiritual forces, suggesting that early humans were exploring symbolism, metaphor, and meaning? The suspense of interpretation, the thrill of creation, and the subtle pulse of attention shaped cognition, emotion, and social cohesion. Every stroke or mark carried the potential to inspire, to teach, to connect, and every observer, in turn, carried the resonance forward, internalizing its rhythm and meaning. Imagine the suspense of creating portable art, carvings, figurines, and ornaments. A small figure carved from bone or stone, a pendant shaped from shell, a pattern etched into hide. Would it be preserved, admired, understood, cherished? Through these objects, humans extended communication beyond the immediate, leaving traces for others, for future generations, for themselves. Did you know that early portable art may have served as talismans, markers of social identity, or tools of memory? Every object carries suspense, intention, and subtle insight. And just as early humans imbued form with meaning, you too can allow your imagination to wander gently, reflecting on creativity, connection, and possibility. The birth of cultural identity, patterns, symbols, and rituals encode shared history, values, and understanding. Humans begin to see themselves as part of a larger narrative, connected across generations and geography. The suspense of creation, the thrill of interpretation, and the calm of reflection reinforce social cohesion. Did you know that cultural identity and symbolism may have strengthened cooperation, empathy, and trust? Groups with rich symbolic practices were able to transmit knowledge more effectively, navigate social challenges, and thrive. Every act of creation, no matter how small, is a thread in the tapestry of human culture. Picture the suspense of observing art under the flickering light of a fire at night. Shadows play across walls, hands point, murmurs arise, eyes follow lines and colors. Every moment carries quiet tension. Will meaning be grasped? Will insight emerge? Will understanding deepen? Through this interplay, humans internalize patterns, reflect on experience, and connect with community. Art becomes more than visual representation. It becomes a rhythm of perception, thought, and emotion. Every mark, every gesture, every interpretation carries suspense, patience, and gentle wonder. And as you lie in bed tonight, you can feel that rhythm, that pulse, that quiet thrill of creation. Art also inspires imagination and foresight through symbolic thinking. Humans can anticipate events, visualize outcomes, and explore abstract concepts. Did you know that early art may have influenced problem-solving, planning, and even proto-scientific thought? The suspense of experimentation, the thrill of discovery, and the calm reflection of creation nurture intelligence and curiosity. And as sleep draws near, you can allow this pulse to carry you. Let the rhythm of observation, expression, and imagination drift through your mind, connecting you to a lineage of humans who marked, imagined, and dreamed. And tonight, just as early humans rested after the creation of symbols and art, you too can rest, cradled in the quiet, hypnotic pulse of wonder, meaning, and cultural memory. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to leave the land you know, to step beyond familiar rivers, forests, and mountains into landscapes that are strange, vast, and filled with uncertainty? Imagine the suspense, the quiet tension, the thrill of every footstep into the unknown. Would water be near? Would food be sufficient? Would the land be safe? That first leap into unfamiliar territory, the act of migration, was both frightening and exhilarating. Tonight, as you rest, we will journey alongside early humans as they traverse continents, adapt to new environments, and embrace the suspense of exploration. Picture yourself at the edge of a vast plain at dawn. Mist rises from the ground, soft and silver in the first light. A small group of humans prepares to move, their tools and belongings packed, senses alert. The air carries distant sounds, the call of an unfamiliar bird, the rustle of tall grasses, the soft trickle of a river unseen. Every step forward carries suspense. Every glance into the distance is a negotiation between curiosity and caution. Each member senses opportunity and danger simultaneously. The landscape is a puzzle to be read, a challenge to be understood, a teacher that demands observation, patience, and ingenuity. Early human migration was guided by necessity and intuition. Did you know that groups often followed herds of animals, seasonal water sources, or changes in vegetation, learning the intricate patterns of land and life as they moved? The suspense of survival was constant. A misstep could lead to hunger, injury, or exposure. Yet the rewards were profound: new resources, new knowledge, and the possibility of thriving in environments that others had not yet reached. Humans adapted through careful observation, experimentation, and cooperation. Each successful migration reinforced skills, strengthened social bonds, and expanded the boundaries of human understanding. Imagine the suspense of crossing a river for the first time. The current is swift, the water cold, and the rocks slippery. Would the chosen path hold? Would the tools and possessions remain dry? Would the group arrive safely? Hands grasp branches, stones, and each other. Eyes scan for safe passage. Hearts pulse with anticipation. Did you know that some early humans used simple rafts, logs, or makeshift bridges, reflecting both ingenuity and careful observation of their environment? Every crossing, every journey, every movement carries the pulse of suspense, curiosity, and careful strategy. Picture a small group navigating dense forests. Sunlight filters through leaves, casting intricate patterns on the ground. The air is humid and alive with scent, sound, and movement. Every rustle may signal a predator, a source of food, or a hidden obstacle. The suspense of interpretation is constant, each decision potentially vital. Early humans learned to read subtle signs, broken branches, footprints, the behavior of birds or insects. Each discovery sharpens attention, builds knowledge, and prepares the group for future challenges. Migration also drove technological innovation. Did you know that tools, clothing, and shelter evolved in response to new environments? Sharpened blades for hunting unfamiliar animals, insulated clothing for colder climates, lightweight shelters for mobility. The suspense of trial and error, the thrill of discovering effective solutions, and the quiet satisfaction of success fostered ingenuity and adaptability. And as you lie in bed tonight, you can feel that same pulse of experimentation and discovery, a gentle rhythm of attention, reflection, and calm curiosity. Imagine the suspense of encountering a mountainous region for the first time. Steep cliffs rise above, mist clings to crevices, and the sound of falling water echoes faintly. Would the paths be safe? Would the group find shelter? Would the journey continue? Every movement is measured, every observation critical, every step a negotiation with the environment. Did you know that early humans developed strategies for climbing, foraging, and navigating complex terrains, learning to interpret subtle visual cues, sounds, and textures? Each success strengthened skill, confidence, and resilience, and reinforced the human capacity to adapt to the unknown. Picture a night under the stars in a foreign land. The sky stretches wide and unbroken. The Milky Way glimmers like a river of light. The group rests beside a fire, shadows flickering across faces. Stories and murmurs recount the day's discoveries, near misses and insights, the suspense of survival, the thrill of exploration, and the quiet satisfaction of adaptation fill the air. Even in rest, observation, and learning continue quietly. Each ember of the fire seems to echo the pulse of experience, the gentle rhythm of curiosity and wonder. Early human migration also shaped cognition, memory, and social structure. Did you know that navigating unknown lands required mapping routes mentally, remembering landmarks, tracking seasons, and anticipating challenges? The suspense inherent in movement through unfamiliar territory strengthened foresight, planning, and cooperative skills. Humans learned to share knowledge, warn of danger, and coordinate strategies. The rhythm of migration, attention, and adaptation became a pulse of learning and growth. And as sleep draws near, you can feel the echo of this pulse within your own mind. A gentle rhythm of anticipation, reflection, and calm. Imagine the suspense of crossing deserts, rivers, and vast plains. Each landscape carries uncertainty. Each horizon promises discovery. Early humans relied on intuition, observation, and cooperation. Every choice, every movement, every calculated risk was part of the rhythm of survival. Did you know that some migrations spanned thousands of kilometers, connecting populations, fostering cultural exchange, and expanding the boundaries of human knowledge? Every journey carried suspense, creativity, and quiet triumph. Picture a dawn in a new, unfamiliar land. Mist rises. Light illuminates distant hills, and the group pauses to observe, reflect, and plan. Every decision is informed by knowledge gained. Every movement is a blend of courage and calculation. The suspense of discovery, the thrill of adaptation, and the calm of reflection interweave. And as you rest tonight, allow this rhythm of migration, observation, and exploration to carry you. Feel the pulse of curiosity, resilience, and wonder flowing gently through your mind. For you are connected to this lineage of explorers, observers, and learners. And tonight, just as early humans rested after long journeys, you too can rest cradled in the quiet, hypnotic pulse of movement, adaptation, and the enduring rhythm of life. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to craft a tool for the first time? To lift a stone, sharpen a bone, or carve a branch, knowing it may be the difference between hunger and sustenance? Imagine the suspense, the quiet thrill, the subtle tension of invention. Would the shape hold? Would it cut, pierce, or dig as intended? The first sparks of human ingenuity, the delicate rhythm of trial and error, change the course of survival. Tonight, as you rest, we will step into the world of early humans, experimenting, collaborating, and mastering the art of innovation. Picture yourself in a clearing at dawn. Mist curls over the grass, dew clings to leaves, and a faint glow spreads across distant hills. A small group huddles around raw materials, stones, bones, wood, each member observing, experimenting, and imagining. Every action carries suspense. Every glance communicates intention. Every choice could alter the success of the hunt or the safety of the group. Hands strike stone against stone, testing angles and strength. Sparks flying like miniature stars. The pulse of discovery flows quietly but insistently. Did you know that some of the earliest stone tools date back over 2 million years, shaped for cutting, scraping, or hunting? Each tool reflects careful observation, experimentation, and adaptation. Imagine the suspense of preparing for a hunt. The group tracks the movement of a herd, reading footprints, broken branches, and the subtle behavior of animals. Would the strategy succeed? Would the prey be caught? Would all return safely? Every decision is a balance of anticipation and caution, every movement deliberate. Early humans discovered that cooperation multiplies success. One distracts the animal, another strikes. A third watches for danger. The rhythm of coordinated action, the thrill of suspense, and the quiet pulse of observation flow together. Picture a child observing the making of a spear. Stone points are carefully shaped, wooden shafts prepared. Sinew binds them together. Every strike, every cut carries suspense. Will the tool be effective? Will it endure? Will it serve its purpose? Did you know that early humans experimented extensively with different materials, angles, and techniques, learning from failure as much as success, refining methods over generations? And as you listen, you can feel the rhythm of learning, attention, and gentle experimentation flowing through your mind. Every movement a lesson, every observation a subtle pulse of insight. Early human innovation extended beyond individual tools. Did you know that cooperative strategies enhanced hunting success dramatically? Groups developed ambushes, drives, and traps, coordinating across time and space. The suspense of planning, executing, and observing outcomes heightened awareness, patience, and ingenuity. Every failure refined strategy. Every success reinforced collaboration. The rhythm of innovation, cooperation, and observation became a quiet, powerful pulse guiding survival and growth. Picture a night by the fire after a long hunt. The group rests, inspecting tools, sharing insights, and reflecting on what worked and what failed. Every discussion carries suspense. Will the lesson be understood? Will the next day be safer, more successful? Hands trace marks on wood or bone, recounting movements, angles, and timing. Stories are shared in whispers and gestures, knowledge flowing across generations. Did you know that the sharing of techniques, observations, and ideas may have accelerated the evolution of technology? Every conversation, every demonstration, every reflection carries suspense, curiosity, and subtle triumph. Imagine the suspense of refining a weapon for the first time. A spear tipped with a sharpened stone, bound carefully with sinew. Would it fly straight, pierce effectively, survive repeated use? Early humans tested, observed, adjusted, and taught. Every success brought quiet satisfaction. Every failure carried lessons. Did you know that this iterative experimentation laid the foundations of engineering? The rhythm of trial, error, and observation became a gentle teacher of patience, attention, and innovation. Picture a large animal in the distance, grazing near a river. The group moves silently, coordinating, observing the terrain, the wind, the animal's behavior. Every step is suspenseful, every breath measured, every heartbeat synchronized with the pulse of the hunt. Early humans learned to anticipate, adapt, and respond collectively. Did you know that cooperative hunting also strengthened social bonds, trust, and empathy? The suspense of potential success or failure teaches focus, strategy, and gentle anticipation. And just as humans coordinated, observed, and innovated, you too can allow your mind to coordinate, observe, and drift gently into calm. Innovation extended beyond hunting into daily survival, tools were crafted for food preparation, shelter, construction, clothing, and defense. Did you know that early humans continually experimented with new materials, methods, and techniques? The suspense of trial and error, the thrill of discovery, and the quiet satisfaction of effectiveness shaped cognitive development and culture. Each innovation built upon previous knowledge, forming an intricate network of learning, adaptation, and reflection. Picture a quiet morning after a night of careful observation. Tools repaired, strategies discussed, and the group prepares to continue exploration. Every movement carries anticipation. What challenges await? What discoveries lie ahead? What knowledge can be gleaned? The rhythm of observation, action, reflection, and cooperation flows steadily. And as you lie in bed tonight, allow the pulse of early human innovation, experimentation, and suspense to carry you. Feel curiosity, attention, and calm flowing through your mind, for you are connected to this lineage of observers, innovators, and collaborators. And tonight, just as early humans rested after long days of invention and coordinated survival, you too can rest, cradled in the quiet, hypnotic pulse of ingenuity, collaboration, and discovery. The story of early human innovation is not merely about tools or hunting. It is a narrative of attention, patience, cooperation, and subtle suspense. Every experiment, every strategy, every shared insight contributes to a rhythm of learning, reflection, and calm curiosity. And as sleep draws near, allow this rhythm to carry you. Let the gentle suspense, quiet thrill, and hypnotic pulse of human ingenuity guide your mind into calm. For you are part of a long continuum of observers, thinkers, and creators. And tonight, just as early humans rested beside their tools and companions, you too can rest, cradled in the soothing, enduring pulse of innovation, collaboration, and quiet discovery.